What if one tiny digital coin was worth more than your house? Imagine buying pizza today and realizing tomorrow it cost you $1 million. People have been asking for years, could Bitcoin really reach $1 million per coin? It sounds insane, but also exciting. In this video, let's break it down. What it would mean for you, for the economy, and for the world using simple stick figure doodles. So what does a $1 million Bitcoin even mean? Picture this. Only 21 million Bitcoins will ever exist. If one coin equals $1 million, the entire Bitcoin network would be worth around $21 trillion. That's more than the whole US economy in a year. In simple terms, Bitcoin would stand side by side with the biggest financial systems in history. And who gets rich first? Early adopters. Those who bought Bitcoin when it was worth just a few dollars would suddenly become unimaginably wealthy. Even someone with just one Bitcoin would now be a millionaire. But here's the twist. Not everyone who ever owned Bitcoin still has it. Some people lost their coins, forgot their passwords, or even threw away their hard drives. That means a big chunk of Bitcoin is gone forever, which makes the rest even more valuable. Now, here's the spending problem. Would you really spend Bitcoin if it was worth $1 million? Imagine going to a store, the cashier asks for $10, and you hand over a sliver of Bitcoin worth $10,000. It's awkward. At that level, Bitcoin stops being used for coffee and pizza. It becomes like digital gold, something you hold, not spend. And what about regular people? Imagine two neighbors. One bought Bitcoin years ago, the other didn't. Suddenly, one is driving a rocket car while the other is still pedaling a bicycle. The wealth gap could explode. Normal people who got in early might become richer than celebrities, while everyone else feels left behind or even frustrated for missing the chance. But the impact doesn't stop there. Governments and banks would feel the shockwaves. If Bitcoin is worth $1 million, it means people trust it more than many national currencies. Banks, which rely on controlling money, could lose power. Governments might react with new taxes, strict regulations, or even outright bans. Some countries might welcome Bitcoin while others fight against it tooth and nail. For the economy, $1 million Bitcoin could be a warning sign. It would mean people everywhere are pouring money into Bitcoin because they don't trust their local currencies anymore. That's basically a global vote of no confidence in traditional money. Imagine inflation as a balloon blowing up until it pops. Bitcoin at $1 million might mean regular money has already popped. But what would everyday life look like in this world? You probably wouldn't buy groceries with Bitcoin. Instead, it could become the ultimate savings account. People would keep Bitcoin in digital piggy banks. Companies might pay salaries in Bitcoin fractions, and houses might be priced in Bitcoin instead of dollars. And here's the funny part. Instead of saying, "I'll pay you in Bitcoin," people would be saying, "I'll pay you 100,000 Satoshis for that burger." Tiny slices of Bitcoin would become the new normal. Of course, there's a dark side. At $1 million per coin, Bitcoin could make crime more attractive. Criminals could move fortunes across borders instantly. And then there's the environmental question. The Bitcoin network already uses huge amounts of energy. At that price, the network could grow even bigger, raising more concerns about sustainability. And don't forget, if Bitcoin suddenly crashed after hitting $1 million, people could lose everything overnight. There's also the psychology of money. Humans don't just see numbers, they feel them. If Bitcoin skyrockets to $1 million, some will feel unstoppable, while others will panic, convinced it's a bubble about to burst. Markets run on emotion as much as math. Fear, greed, and excitement would all collide at once, creating total chaos. But let's step back. Is $1 million Bitcoin even possible? Some experts say yes, pointing to its limited supply and growing global adoption. Others say no, arguing governments would never allow it to get that far. The real answer is, nobody knows. But history has already proven one thing. Bitcoin has surprised the world before, and it might do it again. So what happens if Bitcoin does hit $1 million? Some people get rich, some get left out, the economy gets shaken, and the world is forced to rethink the meaning of money. Maybe the real lesson isn't about predicting the price at all. Maybe it's about asking bigger questions. What do we truly value as money?
And how do we want the future of money to look? Because whether Bitcoin reaches $1 million or not, it pushes us to imagine a world where money is no longer just paper, but an idea.